Hi Libra, welcome to your reading. If you're new to the channel, I do timeless readings, which means that whenever you find this video is when you're meant to hear the messages within it. And in case you subscribe, I upload my new videos for Aries and Libra on Mondays. Also, just as a heads up, sometimes the cards like to flip over in the deck. I do see them. However, I only take cards that jump out like this card has. And usually if they jump out in groups that are too big, I'll just continue to shuffle, put them back and continue to shuffle. But my goal here is to get you guys roughly 8 or 9 cards, and then we can get started on your reading. So I'm just going to keep pulling cards until we have about 8 cards. All right, Libra, so I do want to remind you guys that in case you enjoy the reading, the best way to let me know is by leaving a like or a comment, but your overall energy here, let me just scoot up the cards just a little bit, is the 5 of Cups. Now, the 5 of Cups is usually not the greatest energy to have because it's the story of having 5 cups, and of your 5 cups, 3 spill over and you have 2. Right, so there's obviously that negative connotation here of having things and losing them. But I think that we can also glean a little bit of a sort of positive note from this card in the sense that you still have the 2 cups left, so you're still able to do something. It's just not as effective as it may have been in the past, right? And I feel like the moral of this card in particular is sort of that don't cry over spilled milk kind of an energy, and kind of like appreciate what you have. I feel like that's the energy that you need to sort of glean from this current period. Even though I know that that's, exactly what you want to hear when something bad happens is, oh, look at how good you have it, right? So just know that you are able to experience those emotions, like those feelings of regret or whatever, or negativity, like those are valid, but don't let them control you, is the message that I think that you should get from this energy in general. I feel like that's what the universe is trying to teach you here. But it's very interesting because we have the 8 of Wands in reverse, as well as the 8 of Swords in reverse. Now, the 8 of Wands talks about communication. So that's quick, fast, passionate communication, and oftentimes it feels like text messaging or maybe email if some of you still use that, but it's instantaneous messaging, right? It's nothing like letters or like driving out to see someone, right? Like it's fast, it's quick. And the fact that it's in reverse leads me to believe that there's almost like a stop in communication. It could be any number of things. It could be a stop of communication. It could be that communication has become more slow. It could be for some of you that, you wanted that communication and now just like completely gone. But I feel like because you have this 8 of Swords here, that communication to some degree made you feel trapped. Whether it was consciously or subconsciously, I think that the kind of communication that you were partaking in made you feel a little bit trapped, right? Because this bird here is blindfolded, and I really like the symbolism of this 8 of Swords because normally it's a human depicted that's blindfolded, and this, right, so like the human could take off the blindfold if they used the swords around them to release themselves of like the rope that they're being tied in, right? But because it's a bird, it's almost as if the bird cannot do it by itself. And I feel like that's the difference here. And I think that this mask here that the bird is wearing, these sort of blinders, are blinders that you've put on yourself, but blinders can come in all shapes and sizes, right? So I think that for some of you, instead of wearing these blinders, you were actually wearing rose-colored glasses. So I think that this here is sort of a warning not to let the rose-colored glasses influence your decisions too much. And it's very interesting because even though we have this sort of drop in communication, I do see a lot of communication still. I see the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords, right? And the Page of Swords upgrades into the Knight, right? So there's that progression. I think that it almost feels as if there's a message that wants to come forth, but communication has slowed down for a lot of you guys to like a screeching halt for, I think, a lot of you. And it's very interesting because you have the Seven of Pentacles here in reverse with the Ace of Swords. So the Seven of Pentacles talks about putting work into a situation, really trying to get what you put in, right? And the fact that this is in reverse almost leads me to believe that it's like what you've been putting into the situation hasn't been translating into the output. I think that for a lot of you guys, you've been putting too much work in here and you're not really getting in return what you wanted. And I feel like for another minority of you, you guys haven't been putting in enough work, but I don't think that that's for the majority of you. I think the majority of you watching are the kind that have put far too much work in, and then you get this sort of tied down energy. And it's very interesting because even though it feels like you're not getting the message here with the Seven of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands in reverse, you have the Ace of Swords and these two knights, or this knight and the Page of Swords. So there's a lot of it's interesting. It feels like communication has slowed down and there is one big message coming in, and it's going to be a doozy. But it's very interesting because even though you have this Five of Cups here, which would denote sadness and disappointment and despair, you have also the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands is a great card to have. It's a fantastic energy to have. It's the card of victors, right? It symbolizes victory. So I think that for a lot of you guys, you're seeing that success. You're seeing that happiness, and you're gonna have your way in the end, even though there's sort of this like hiccup here. And this Temperance card sort of tells me that you guys are gonna see success in some things, and then other things won't go your way, but then you'll have just enough things that do go your way that you'll be happy, right? Like, you guys are the sign of balance, so I'm not too terribly surprised. And the Temperance is another form of balance, right? I always make it a point to talk about how the Temperance differs from the Justice, right? So whereas Justice would provide balance in a 50-50 black and white, good versus evil kind of a sense, the Temperance provides justice in moderation, it provides balance in moderation and proportions. I always give the example of a cake. If you put in equal amounts of vanilla extract as you do flour, as you do eggs, as you do water, not only will that cake be inedible, it'll probably be poisonous. But if you put it in perfect proportions, you'll see something that's very delicious and something that you can actually eat, right? So I feel like that's the outcome that you're going to get, is something where everything is actually going to happen, but you're going to see it in a way that sometimes benefits you and sometimes doesn't. But do know that even though communication has slowed down and in a lot of cases stopped, it's going to come back in. And I feel like it's going to be better in the long run because you're coming out of this trapped energy. So that's a win. And like I said, that's a win. So I think that now is a really good time. Like I was saying here with this Five of Cups, is sort of kind of count your blessings, right? Look at the things that are going your way and try to maintain that positive, optimistic outlook on life, or else you're gonna fall into a sort of negative mind state, and that's just gonna manifest more negativity in your life. Also, I looked at the clock on the video just now, and it was at 10:10. So I think that a lot of you guys might be seeing synchronicities. But that was your reading first time around, Libra. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or a comment because it really helps out the channel. And I personally really love to know if these readings resonate with you guys. But like I said before, I upload my new videos for Libra on Mondays. But in the meantime, you guys are more than welcome to watch any of my other timeless readings that I have up on the channel. And with that being said, I hope to see you guys next time for your next reading.